And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall continue our series on the 5 years of the Buhari administration with a focus on science and technology.
Science, technology, and innovation are key drivers of development because technological and scientific inventions lead to improvements in health systems, education, public infrastructure, information, and communication technology, to mention just a few.
Now, the products derived from science and technology indeed go a long way in enhancing the quality of life of citizens in general. Now, I recall when grandmothers were using the grinding stone in the days of yore to blend pepper and tomatoes for making stew or soup. And some of them in far-flung villages still use the grinding stone anyway. But today, with the electric blender and grinding machine, life is much easier for modern-day mothers.
Oh yes, Kingsley, and I equally recall the olden days when perhaps only a rich family in a neighborhood has a landline telephone, and if they permit, other persons in the neighborhood will go to their house and of course wait for hours to receive an important call. There is no need for all that today, as almost everyone now has a mobile phone that helps to organize activities of life, thanks to the advancement of information and communication technology.
Of course, Kyria, now the internet as another aspect of ICT and advancement in space technology has made the world truly a global village, and that's how much science and technology plays a key role in improving the quality of life. Now, as I indicated a while ago, boosting the fortunes of a nation, of course, will be one of the results of science and tech. In fact, experts refer to it as the twin catalysts of national development.
Yeah. Well, as an engine of growth and development, the potential of science and technology is endless, but remains largely untapped in Africa and other developing regions of the world. Here in Nigeria, we are still scratching our potential in science and technology, with some efforts made under the Buhari administration in the last 5 years.
Now, the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology instituted the National Science Technology Week, which has become a platform where innovations and products of research institutes and other creative Nigerians are displayed. And the ministry has also encouraged youth in all local government areas of the country to embrace science and tech through a program called 774 Young Nigerian Scientists Presidential Award.
And in a bid to further promote local content and technology, President Buhari signed the Executive Order 5 for promotion of Nigerian content in execution of contracts and projects, as well as science, engineering, and technology development.
Now, we also learned that patents submitted by Nigerian scientists and engineers through the National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, an agency under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Science and Tech, that those patents increased from 6 in 2015 to 57 by last year.
And several policies to drive science and technology development in Nigeria have also been developed, such as the National Strategy for Competitiveness in Raw Materials and Products Development in Nigeria, National Policy on Methanol Fuel Production Technology, National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy, and Science, Technology, Innovation Roadmap 2017 to 2030.
Well, I also recall the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Brno, hammering on the production of pencils at the time and following up on a number of local manufacturers, which one of them, we are told, having the capacity to produce some 2.4 million dozen of pencils per annum, which of course will surpass both local and sub-regional requirements.
And I recall, Kingsley, when the minister said that, many Nigerians didn't quite understand that pencil production is more complex than pen production, because it has 14 steps to the process of pencil production. So it's not an easy feat. Well, it's not a bad idea, generally, to produce pencils if we can make it a global brand that is sustainable and commercially viable. China started with little products that the whole world will need. And to date, even with COVID-19, the world depends on China for about 70% of personal protective commodities. The most important step is to identify what technology gives you comparative advantage and commercialize it.
So, how much has been achieved in the realm of science and technology in the 5 years of the Buhari administration? And what are the challenges and prospects? Kirian, when we were atomizing the advent of science and tech in our lives and how science and tech has made life much more livable, I mean, our viewers will recognize the fact that they are able to watch us today is the product of science and tech.
And space technology particularly.
Absolutely. Even before space technology, 100 years ago, there were no flights. Commercial flights.
Of course, but for you to transmit, you need some airways.
Commercial flights. So, all right, so that's where our focus today on Good Morning Nigeria. My name is Kingsley Osadolo. I welcome you to the program, reaching you as always live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. And we are here in our nation's capital, Abuja. It's a cool morning, no rain, but a bit cloudy.
All right, and I am Kirian Umar. Many thanks for joining us as usual. And we shall serve you morning news and some bit of business news, and later have Bayo Atoyebi join us for newspaper review. For now, let's join our colleague Nolene Abel Ame for the morning news. Good morning, Nolene. You're welcome back to the beat.
Thank you so much, Kirian. Good morning to you. And Kingsley, good morning, Nigeria. Here is the news. At about midnight of Sunday, 14th June 2020, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, announced 403 new cases of COVID-19 in the country, bringing the number of confirmed cases to 16,085. Of the 403 new cases, Gombe State recorded the highest with 73 cases, followed by Lagos State with 68 cases. 46 positive cases were found in Cano, 36 in Edo, 35 in FCT, 31 in Nasarawa, 17 in Kaduna, 16 in Oyo, and 15 in Abia. Delta and Brno recorded 8 new coronavirus cases each, 8 in Plateau, Nyjah, and Rivers 7 cases each. Enugu and Ogun have 6 cases each, 3 in Kebbi, while Ondo, Anambra, and Imo recorded single case this time around. Lagos State tops the COVID-19 cases chart table with 103 cases, but FCT has overtaken Cano to become second on the table with 1,247 cases, leaving Cano third with 1,137 cases. 5,220 patients who recovered have been discharged, with 420 deaths so far. The presidency wishes to acknowledge public concerns regarding a recent incident among occupants of the State House, which led to the arrest of some staff by the police. In a statement, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, assures Nigerians that the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Muhammadu Buhari, is not and was not at any time in any form of danger arising either from deadly infections or the reported incident by security personnel, which is currently under investigation. This particular incident happened outside the main residence of the President, and the relevant authorities have been mandated to investigate the matter for the law to take its course. Nigerians have berated controversial singer Aziz Fashola, popularly known as Naira Marley, for holding a fully packed concert despite the ban on public gatherings by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to contain the spread of the virus in the country. The Jabi Lake Mall, where the concert was held, has already been sealed off by the FCT administration.
They're not supposed to have held such a gathering because they are going to endanger a lot of lives. So certainly I'm not in support of such a gathering.
Other people that have stores here should not be affected because they didn't know they were even hosting a show here. Exactly. We are not even aware and they paid for this rent. Yes, so it should be the management that should be held in captivity, not the other stores.
To politics now, the All Progressives Governors Forum has unanimously reaffirmed commitment to work for the unity of the party. Chairman of the forum and Governor of Kebbi State, in a statement after their virtual meeting, said the governors have collectively agreed to work to ensure fair and democratic internal party mechanism for the selection of party candidates in all elections, especially in respect of Edo and Ondo States 2020 governorship elections. Appraising 5 years of the Buhari administration, stakeholders in the transportation and commercial sector in Anambra State have commended the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari on the progress made so far on the construction of a second bridge across the Nyjah. They described it as a national development that will benefit not just the southeast geopolitical zone, but the entire country.
This new one is a 6-lane lane way, and so ideally it would reduce the traffic tremendously.
It means ramping up the economy, it means movement of goods and services across border. It means reducing the time you spend.
And talking security, the ground troops of Sector 3 and Air Task Force Operation Lafia Dole have successfully repelled attack on Mongono town and inflicted heavy casualties on Boko Haram and Islamic State of West Africa terrorists who attempted security breach on Mongono town in Brno State on Saturday, 13th June 2020. Coordinator of Defense Media Operations at the Defense Headquarters, Major General John Enenche, in a statement says that 20 Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters were neutralized and 4 of their gun trucks destroyed. The troops also captured some of the terrorists and their equipment and are further encouraged to remain resolute and decisive in their ground and air offensives in the theater. That's the morning news for now. The program continues with Kirian and Kinsley after this break. Good morning.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Next is business news, and here is Comfort Amodu.
The clamor for financial service operators to streamline their operations in line with emerging technologies in the financial space continues to linger. A 2018 report from the World Economic Forum on Future of Work states that by 2022, about 75 million traditional accounting jobs will be lost to technology, while about 93% chartered accountant jobs will also be lost to technological changes caused by the fourth industrial revolution. However, with the outbreak of COVID-19, which induced a worldwide disruption in the price of crude oil, as well as in global trade and price of stocks, the financial service was not spared.
Moving forward, it's all about BAM being an IT platform more than what they used to be. So COVID-19 is here and it has changed the way we work. It has redefined our economic and social landscape as a people and as a country.
Meanwhile, entrepreneurs, particularly those in small and micro enterprises, have been encouraged to turn their attention to the sale of Nigerian spices, as the country can comfortably generate some $2 billion from export yearly. With business news, Comfort Amodu.
Thank you, Comfort, for that business package. And next on Good Morning Nigeria is newspaper review.
Our newspaper reviewer, Bayo Atoyebe, is here with us in the studio. Bayo, good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Kinsley. Good morning.
Yes,
good morning, Keria.
Bayo, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
Let's begin with the leadership newspaper this morning, from top to bottom. Disqualification. APC governors move to save Obaseki with 2 riders. Edo governor visits PDP counterparts. Ondo deputy governor defection bid suffers setback. All the stories on page 10 of the newspaper. Now, the lead story, apprehension over spending of COVID-19 funds in states. The story is on page 4, but it had 7 riders. CSOs call for accountability. We will account for every kobo spent, say governors. Federal government to inject 2.3 trillion naira into economy to tackle post-COVID-19 recession. Saudi Arabia considers cancelling 2020 Hajj. Clinical trials underway to evaluate the plasma of recovered patients. Resident doctors begin nationwide strike today. FCTA shuts Jabi Lake Mall over Naira Marley's show. Presidency hits back at PDP order, says opposition justifying attacks on PMB with Villa incident. That's on page 4 as well. Below the photograph there, reps oppose ban on SON, that's Standard Organization of Nigeria, NAFDAC, from all ports and borders. It's on page 19. You are father of democracy, Nyjah governor tells General Abdul Salami at 78. It's on page 15. No 23 billion naira missing in SGF's office, says federal government. It's on page 12. Northern states at the mercy of armed gangs, says NEF. Page 14 is where you get the story. Court bars IGP others from Boa mining site. Page 2 has the story. 3-month-old baby defiled. Another student raped and killed. Page 15 has the stories. Now, Dangote exports clinker, boosts federal government's forex drive. It's on page 47 of Leadership newspaper. Kingsley.
All right. I have an editorial. This is from the Nation newspaper. But before we take the editorial, I think we should bring Bayo in to discuss the highlights of the window page that you've just read here.
Yes. Let's start with the pronouncement from the presidency. The President has ordered immediate investigation into reported gunshot within the presidential villa on Thursday. This is sequel to disputations over an aide returning from Lagos and being asked to self-isolate. The involvement of security personnel also, as well as aides of the First Lady, led to the police command to intervene. The President has directed that incident that happened should be investigated. And also the presidency says the incident was in fact outside the residence of the president and that the president was not in any threat whatsoever. COVID-19 update, well, we were lamenting on Thursday when we had 681 cases. That seemed to have been the peak because on Friday we had 627, Saturday 501, and Sunday 402. So over the weekend we had 1,530 cases, and unfortunately we've lost 33 of our compatriots to COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Minister of Health had said that they are contemplating using the plasma of persons who have been cured from COVID-19 as a possible means of treating COVID-19 patients. Mauritius is doing a similar thing, and it may be recalled that during the Ebola crisis, Guinea used the plasma of persons who have been cured from Ebola to treat their patients. So they are working on that. In fact, the minister mentioned this during the World Day celebration for blood donation, and he also used the occasion to appeal to Nigerians to donate blood, because blood is life. When we donate blood, we help to save other people's lives. And he also gave another revelation that when you donate blood, it helps to regenerate the blood in your system. And a man can donate at least 4 times in a year, women 3 times in a year. So if you can, and if you should, and you must, donate blood to help save life. Also on COVID-19.
Not the commercial blood donation, by the way, because there are persons who hung around
to make money.
That's right.
When people are even selling their own body parts, body organs, that tells you how bad it is.
Anyway, we're talking about voluntary donation to save life, and that is a very, very worthy cause, isn't it?
Exactly.
Jabi Mall has been shot. This is sequel to the fact that they broke, an artist flew in from Lagos and gathered so many people, breaking all the protocol for COVID-19. Apparently, the mall was summoned before a magistrate, and the magistrate, the mobile court, ordered that the mall should be shut for 2 weeks.
But why is that Naira Marley being caught in the web of this? Last time in Lagos, he was also involved in a
birthday party,
and meanwhile he has come to Abuja to do the same thing. I wonder, how did he fly in? Is there any flight going on?
Well, this is the puzzle. When sometimes we feel challenged, we fail to look at the core issues. When you say there is restriction on its interstate movement, with the exception of persons who are on essential services, you have to ask yourself whether a musical concert is an essential service. So how did he take off from Lagos, assuming he flew from Lagos, and then how did he also take off from Abuja? Yes, how did it land in Abuja in the first instance? So you just find persons, those who are sneaking in through night buses are sneaking in through night buses and trucks. You know, those who are flying, and then you are asking yourself, why won't you have, you know, this community spread all over the place?
Sadly, too, the FCDA is concerned, and they have followed up with the Lagos authorities that they should inquire and find out how he was able to break the lockdown and fly out of Lagos. And maybe they will, from the Abuja, like you mentioned, they should also...
a private jet? Does he have a private jet? Or is he a commercial airline? So, I mean, it's questionable how he even made it, because I'm not sure it's by flight. You know, it could be by land. You know,
but Kirian, however he made it, the fact is that it was a clear breach of the extant regulations governing COVID-19. Exactly. And those regulations derive from the Quarantine Act. So it's so simple. I mean, a number of us have been stranded, as it were, unable to move except, you know, just be around the FCT. And in the meantime, you have all kinds of persons who are bragging about, you know, being able to sneak in from one, you know, from one place to the other.
People are traveling as if things are normal.
Precisely. It's clearly irresponsible. And this is where some of them go to the so-called super spreader centers. And then they come and you see the numbers of COVID-19 climbing. We are well over 16,000 now.
And so the most surprising thing is that some persons that are responsible, people you tend to be asking questions about whether it is real or not. As at yesterday, I had somebody asking that question, whether it is real. And I was confused at that point. I said, look, if this person is asking this question, then of course we're finished.
The other concern is the issue of rape. Unfortunately, it is not abating. Sadly, another lady, Grace Oshiago, has been raped and killed at a church in Ibadan. Police public relations says that the 21-year-old was also a student of a polytechnic in Shaki. She was attacked with a cutlass, and unfortunately we lost her. This happened at Ojo in Ibadan area. Incidentally, you recall on June 5th, a 29-year-old woman, Aziza Somoya, was also killed. It is the same Akinyele local government area. And earlier, there was the case of another Barakat, a lady who was murdered in her father's home, also in the same Akinyele local government area. And in Benue Street, another 7-year-old girl was also raped in the church at Ngure local government area. Ngure in Benue. Police command has registered 6 rape cases only in 1 week.
In Benue? Okay. In Benue alone?
Yes, that's last week. 6 rape cases in 1 week.
It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. It's... Well, Kira, in the absence of any other story for us to discuss, let's take a look at the editorial this morning. It's coming from the Nation newspaper. It's at page 17. The headline of the editorial is agro waste. That's slightly misleading. It says, with the rider, Benue initiatives should be emulated by other state governments. When you read agro waste, it's like we're talking about industrial waste, in other words, byproducts from agricultural activities, but it's actually talking about agro losses. It says, last week, Vice President Debi Oshibajo undertook 2 important tasks in Zaki Biam. They kicked off the reconstruction of the yam market, and as well as inaugurated a 200,000 capacity yam storage facility. So the editorial says, in part, that the country can do more with such interventions, especially at this time. And it says, for a country with no less than 16 agricultural research institutes, it's a shame that she has neither been able to optimize her potential in agriculture, nor talk of harnessing the boundless opportunities in the value chain to avoid agricultural losses, you know, in terms of wastage and poor transportation and so on and so forth.
Well, one cannot agree less with that editorial, because our nation is endowed with a lot of agricultural produce. If you fly between the north central up to going to the northeast, every year during the rainy season, you'll be shocked to find the quantum of mangoes and other fruits that are available ready and wasted because there are no means of preserving them or processing them. The same thing, tomato and other byproducts. And therefore, if we look back at the recent pronouncement by government, especially the Minister of Agriculture, with the initiative to have this program in 77 local government area, one of those strategies include processing of agricultural produce. And so that initiative is in furtherance of that means of preserving. And I agree with Kingsley when he says that our scientists have not been productive to the challenges of our society by referring their research outcomes to how we can preserve these produce from
they may be productive in terms of understanding what to be done, but then if they're not properly funded, you don't have to blame the scientists. Scientists, they have the knowledge and capacity as well. But the point is, if it's not properly funded, how will we now know the capacity of the scientists? That's the problem.
Kirian, this is incidentally what we're having as our conversation this morning on science and tech. So we'll have the opportunity of exploring it in further detail. Bye, Atebe. It's a new week. We'd like to thank you for being around.
Thank you too.
We'll see you again tomorrow. All right, it's Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We're taking a short break now. When we return, we'll get ahead with our item for discussion.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria and reaching you on the network service of the NTA. For our conversation this morning, we continue with our series of 5 years of Buhari administration with focus on science and technology. And before we begin the discussion, here is Kunle Adeye with a background report.
A lot of ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government have been vibrant in the bid to raise the bar in governance within the last 5 years of the Buhari administration. The Ministry of Science and Technology is one that has been actively involved in actualizing the lofty ideas of President Muhammadu Buhari in emancipating Nigerians from years of stagnation. The ministry instituted the National Science Technology Week in 2017, which has since become a platform where innovations and products of research institutes and other creative Nigerians are displayed. The local content policy of the federal government has been projected through the promotion of indigenous projects. This has made President Buhari to sign the Executive Order 5 for planning and execution of projects, promotion of Nigerian content in contracts and science, engineering, and technology. Meanwhile, 19 new high-yield crops varieties have been released by the Ministry of Science and Technology to enhance agriculture. Earlier in 2016, the ministry initiated a program to encourage youths in all the 774 local government areas of the country to embrace science and technology through a program tagged 774 Young Nigerian Scientists Presidential Award. The prospects of commercializing science and technology became rife under the present administration. The ministry is planning a 180 billion naira National Science, Technology and Innovation Roadmap 2030. The roadmap is expected to move Nigeria from assemblage to manufacturing. The production of pencils being spearheaded by the ministry is expected to generate 400,000 jobs. These efforts of the Ministry of Science and Technology under President Muhammadu Buhari still leave room for improvement and broaden the outlook for the future. What are the gains so far, the challenges and prospects for the future? Answers will be provided by guests on Good Morning Nigeria in a moment.
Many thanks, Kunle Adeye, for that backgrounder. With us in the studios now to discuss the issues in further detail, let's welcome the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbunaya Ono. Honorable Minister, pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Also here with us in the studios, would like to welcome the Director General of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, Engineer Eli Jidere Bala. Engineer Bala, pleasure to have you with us today on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you, Kingsley.
And joining us via Skype from Lagos is the Director General of the Nigeria Natural Medicine Development Agency, Samuel Ogene Etatuvie. So it's a pleasure to welcome you to the program this morning.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
We have a clear signal.
Oh, absolutely, Kirian. But we'll have to start the conversation in our studios with the Honorable Minister of Science and Tech. It's been a while since we last had you on Good Morning Nigeria, and we know that you've been busy. But take us back to 2015 and right up to this moment. What have been the milestones in science and tech in Nigeria?
Yes, we in 2015, when I came in as a Minister of Science and Technology, it was very clear to me that Nigeria must pay more attention to science and technology, because all through history, people think it's just maybe because of COVID-19 or even modern history, but all through history, since the history of man was recorded, no nation has ever become truly great without science, technology, and innovation. A nation can be wealthy, but not great. And in most cases, such nations lose such wealth. But once it is on the basis of science and technology, you will find that it's sustainable. So we've done a lot since 2015. The first is that we have tried to sensitize our people, Nigerians, to appreciate the importance and the relevance of science, technology, and innovation to nation building. And we're very happy that we've gotten good results in that. And besides general mobilization, we have targeted young people. In the intro, we have a program whereby we go to all the 774 local government areas and try to promote science and technology by identifying those who in future will be notable scientists. What that means is that in every local government area, we now organize, it's done by the local government. They will organize tests in mathematics, in physics, in chemistry, and biology, and they select the best. Now you move to the state level, where the best from the local government areas will come and compete on the same subject areas, and then you bring the best. Now the best from all the states and the FCT will come to Abuja, where we pick the best 3. And so far, Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari has been so gracious. He's giving scholarship awards to the first 3 to study up to PhD level in any Nigerian university, in any science-related discipline. We've also looked at gender balancing. We want our girl child to be interested in science and technology. We've taken this up. We've visited schools, girls' schools. We've engaged professionals, our very reputable women in science and technology. Some are vice chancellors. Many are professionals like medical doctors, engineers, and we've engaged them to go around, particularly the rural areas, to talk in our schools, to encourage our girl child to show interest in science and technology. And we are very happy with that. Then also, we, wherever I've gone to, I've visited traditional rulers, because they are very important. They live with the people, and in many cases, people respect them. And we say, please, use your office and explain to our people within your own area of jurisdiction the importance of science and technology. So that mobilization, I believe, is the most important, because once the nation sees that relevance, and it's working, it's been very helpful. It will lead us to becoming the truly great nation that Nigeria must be. Also, we have done a number of things. Before 2015, we have 17 agencies that we supervise. We find that all the research findings are used more for career advancement. And we said, no, this is good. It's just like in the universities, you either publish or you perish. So we want that. We want you to be very creative, be very inventive, publish. But all research findings that you believe can become products, and also even services, we must make sure that we commercialize such research findings so that we can now have these products in the marketplace. Because that is the time when Nigerians go into the market and they find that, yes, gradually, many of the things that we import are being replaced by the things that are produced locally. They will now start seeing more the relevance of science, technology, and innovation to their own daily living. And this has been very successful. The area of commercialization, we now have a number of industries, scattered around the country that started very small. They have now grown, from micro through being small to medium enterprises. And we believe that in future they will get to large enterprises. And this is very, very important. Then also we looked at areas that are of great importance to the nation. For example, Nigeria, with a population of 200 million people plus, we must feed ourselves. It's very important that we must feed ourselves. So we must do everything to make sure that all that food we used to import from outside, we can grow them, we can process them. I just saw, maybe not in the intro, but before the intro, the losses, harvest losses that we have. Yes, and many people don't know that agriculture is essentially 90% science and technology. They think it's just the tractors they see that prepare the land. No. Or the harvesters that harvest, no. Even from the seed. I can give you a classical example. Nigeria used to be a major grower of cotton. And we used to export cotton from Nigeria. But after some time, the bollworm attacks our cotton fields. And the farmers are smart. If the bollworms attack the cotton fields, and they start losing revenue, they will move to other crops. So, but using science and technology, one of our agencies, NABDA, working with some other agencies, we're able now to find a seed that is resistant to the bollworm and also has bigger yield. So what has this done? This has now reactivated the cotton industry. You see the central bank is investing. Yeah, it's, because we were able to do that research. If you go to Gamba now, you see many cotton fields. And this is springing up everywhere, particularly in the northern part of the country, the cotton belt of the nation. So that will show you the relevance of science, technology, and innovation, to agriculture. And even in this post-harvest losses. If we can minimize the losses in our harvest, it will help us tremendously. And it is science and technology that will do this, because you have to now develop the technology. There are two components. One is to develop the technology that will help you to process the food so that, that you harvest, convert it to the form that it will be needed and used, when off-season, because there are so many fruits, but they have got planned it that there is a particular season for it. But, you need it because they give you nutrients in the body, and you want to have it all year round. So it is only through that type of, technology that you can make it available. We are doing that. Then also we are working on the machines. You need the machines that will help you to process this, in very large quantities. So agriculture is an area that is of very great importance. Mr. President is so interested. He has committed the resources there, and we are helping to make sure we get that. Then also in manufacturing, we can't continue to be importing many of the things we need into the country. We have seen that that has created tremendous problems for us. First is even the unemployment. Because if you keep importing these things into the country, you are exporting jobs that you can have here. And you are weakening our currency, because the pressure on the naira will be so intense. And when that pressure comes, what else you do? You devalue the naira. And that's why we have been, our naira has been becoming weaker and weaker. So we are also working, to make sure that we can produce many of the things that we now import into the country, so that it can be produced here, manufactured here in the country. So you can see. Now, in the area of health, we take, for example, there are certain diseases that are peculiar to people who have the same color of skin. black skin, with us. Look at sickle cell anemia. It's very peculiar to black people. And we don't expect that Europeans will spend their money to go and do research and find drugs. They may do so anyway for commercial purposes, but we should give leadership to the black people in the world. Just because God concentrated more black people in Nigeria. There's no other nation in the world that has, the concentration of black people as we do. So we are committed that such diseases, we are doing intensive research and we are getting good results. We now have a supplement, one of our agencies in Lagos has a supplement that you add to food, and right now is being commercialized by one of our big food companies. So these are the things we're doing. Then also, even in the area of cancer, the DG in natural medicine, maybe he can mention, but we felt that we should allow, trials, to take place, clinical trials, before we can make such announcements. But we're getting encouraging results in fighting, cancers that, have been responsible for more deaths, both for female and the male, that is women and men in the country. So that is the area of health. Now, even in sports, we are producing football, that is international standard, that is cheaper. One of our agencies in Zaria is doing so. So you can see that in all areas, all sectors, we have been targeting national priorities, to make sure that we directly affect, the lives and the standard of living of our people.
All right, Honorable Minister, let me take you back to the issue of commercialization. You started Techno Expo in this country, where persons who are science inclined, come to display what they have put together. You have several agencies who also have been part of that expo for some time now. But my question is, in those expositions, we have seen tremendous work put in by scientists and technologies in terms of, machinery production, in terms of other chemical science that are displayed. People make dung, so cow dung, to become methane or ethanol and what have you. Now, talking about commercialization, to what extent has some of these been commercialized? Because when there is the will to commercialize, then you see the big names, big industries come in to buy into the research results that we have in all the research agencies in this country. Are we having a kind of a push from the angle of government to encourage those rich organizations to buy into this commercialization, to be able to engage in mass production of some of these items we see Nigerians display during science expositions?
Oh, yes, maybe I can also just mention that the expo that you've talked about, which we have done annually since 2016, as soon as I came in as Minister of Science and Technology, is not just for our own agencies, it's for all research institutes and agencies in the country, all our universities, whether public or private universities, federal or state universities, or even faith-based universities. I'm sure if you move around, and you see even secondary schools, very interesting, and I'm happy you talked about it. Let me just give you one example. Not this last one, about 3 years ago, the expo that was held here at Ego Square in Abuja, I was just in the Proda stand when a man came in, and he said, look, he was just about traveling to Thailand, to go and buy the equipment that he saw that Proda displayed. I was right there, while the man was saying that. So I was so happy. I said, okay, fine, this Proda so we have, in terms of, for example, those high nutrient biscuits. Though when people talk about biscuits, they say, no, but it's important because this is a very special form of biscuit that can help children who are suffering from malnutrition recover very quickly. NASCO Foods is one of our largest confectionery industries. They are the people that produce. Is in the market. Is in the market already. We have cases like that, but I must say that there is a drawback in our nation. In the developed countries, you have venture capitalists, because it is not our duty to do this research and also do the commercialization. I've told our agencies, we will not support that. We should continue to do research, because if you allow them to do both, they will forget research. And then after some time, everything will dry up. So our intention is this must be private sector driven. We are doing this, we get these research findings, then we bring in our investors, and we prefer Nigerian investors. Because if Nigerian investors come, we can be sure that whatever profit they make, they will keep the money in our banks, and then the banks can loan this money to our people. That's how the economy grows. And then they can hire our people, they will recruit our people. That's how job creation is. They will pay tax, to both state and federal government. That's how government will be able to build roads and other infrastructure. So we want that, but there is that constraint. We don't have these venture capitalists. It's a major constraint we have. And that was why at some time we were thinking of establishing a science and technology bank, because we felt that if we have a lot of money put in a specialized bank like that, you can now give credit, to investors, instead of going into the market 20%, 30% interest, they can get at 5% or so. That may be an incentive, because in the end, the nation benefits more, because as these enterprises grow, even the taxes they will pay and things of that nature, government will make more money from those.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much. I mean, good to think now you are sketching some of the challenges. The picture you painted earlier was pretty rosy, no doubt about that. But part of the challenge, Kieran, the Honorable Minister has mentioned now, still indicates that the shallow mentality perhaps is persistent. So we'll give you an opportunity to respond to matters arising therefrom, particularly with regard to what you just said, that fine, research findings are coming out, but you don't have venture capitalists to take up the research findings. So what is the linkage, therefore, between the financial sector and the research sector, rather than you having your own bank in the first instance? And you also did something when we had you a couple of years ago on Good Morning Nigeria. You were upbeat about the establishment of the Science, Technology and Innovation Council, which had been on the drawing board for over 30 years. So the question will therefore arise, what exactly is the council doing if it cannot then overreach any of the barriers and say, look, let's get this to drive aspects of financing for venture capitalists?
Let me also mention, you see, like I said, our intention is that our research should be industry driven. Our research must meet the needs of society. And we believe that, for example, if our industries have certain needs and our research meet those needs, they will be more willing to come in. And our interest is that the private sector, should come in and then commercialize all the research findings we have made. But we are not, just because we don't have, the trend in the country for a very long time, has been more of having a trading mentality. You go in, you buy something, you make profit. And so investing in technology, in manufacturing, these are things that take very long period of time. You can take a technology in the process of commercializing it. It may not turn out the way for example, if you take about 10 technologies, those venture capitalists, they believe that if about half of it, say half of the number, 5 succeeds, they will do a lot, because even one can pay for 9 that failed. Not all of them will succeed anyway. So, but it's something that we believe will take time. And that's why in the interim, we're thinking of, that bank in the interim. But ideally, if you have venture capitalists, then they will come. The financial sector, will back them up, and they can commercialize research findings, very, very easily. But the council, like last time I came, and we must give credit to Mr. President. This is a council that was set up in 1986. The Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy was set up in 1986, and they approved 1986, and the council is the lead organ that will implement it. But for 30 years, there was no such council. So if you don't have a head, the body cannot function. So I try to show that may have been one reason that we didn't get the full benefits that we should have from science and technology. But luckily, Mr. President, on 7th of January 2016, exactly 30 years, that council met for the first time, because the president is the chairman. So we have been meeting, though Mr. President asked the Mr. Vice President to sit in for him, which is the same thing. We've been meeting, and we've made some progress. But this administration came at a time, let's not forget it, when the indices, our economic indices were already, going down. We came in, entered into a recession. We just came out of a recession, and look at this, COVID-19. So the resources that would have been deployed, to assist, science and technology, I believe, it was not easy because of the situation, because I know Mr. President is very interested. He would have done it very easily if it is not the circumstances, that we found ourselves. So, but we still believe that we are now doing our commercialization, at a different level. What is that level? That level is all these, we have these 17 research centers. There is one of them, the National Board for Technology Incubation. Maybe you may not have invited the DG here. We will bring him maybe next time. That agency is set up to receive all these technologies. And then people come in, and you can't believe people have retired soldiers, colonels, retired, SSG, highly placed civil servants, well-trained people, some professors and all that who have retired. They come in, take up these technologies, and then they start small and they are moving. So that is the level we are. And the benefits will be seen in future. I am very confident in 10, 20 years to come, you are going to see these companies that have started very small growing into bigger companies.
You have the benefit of explaining to us, how this incubation center works, so that if there are others who are interested, they might take advantage of it.
Yes, actually, the MBTI DG, I think once in a while, I think sometime last year, was not on Given Nigeria, but on Weekend File, where he elaborated on some of the activities of the incubation centers, in parts of the country. And I've been privileged, actually, to cover some of these centers, like the one in Mina, in Cano, in Nnewi, and Oka, and several other centers. They are doing pretty well. Yes, they are doing pretty well in terms of manufacturing some machinery, some scientific products as well, as Minister mentioned. But apparently, let us come to Engineer Eli Chidere Bala, the DG of Energy Commission. Sir, to what extent has the Energy Commission of Nigeria fulfilled its mandate? I'd like you to begin by letting us know exactly the scope of operation of Energy Commission of Nigeria, and what is expected of that commission, and what has happened within in the commission during your tenure, perhaps from 2015 till today. So let us know what the current administration has injected into Energy Commission, and how you have been able to, handle that.
Thank you, Kirian. Energy Commission of Nigeria It's one of the parastatals supervised by the Ministry of Science and Technology, and with Dr. Obonaya Onu as the Honorable Minister. The commission was established in 1979 with an edict, but then 10 years later it started operation. That was in 1989. And it started operations after the heads of states of ECOWAS met in Cotonou in 1985 and took decisions after having analyzed the importance of energy within the sub-region to its development, that each member state should establish a government agency to be known as the State Energy Commission to coordinate and plan for the development of the energy resources within its own state. So far, Nigeria first established the Energy Commission, by operationalizing it in 1989. Then Ghana followed in 1997. And the primary mandate of the commission, as established, as stipulated in the law, now under Energy Commission Act E10, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, with the primary responsibility for strategic planning and coordination of national policies in the field of energy, strategic planning and coordination of national policies in the field of energy in all its ramifications. And in doing so, it's to become a center of gathering and disseminating information on the developments in the implementation of national policies. It makes recommendations for the exploitation of new energy resources. It monitors the performance of the energy sector, as well as liaises with international energy organizations for the benefit of the nation. It also involves in training and manpower development within the energy sector, among other things. Now, once immediately it got operationalized, particularly with the primary mandate of strategic planning and coordination of national policies on energy. You're aware that even before the establishment of the Energy Commission, there have been energy is, that is, the energy sector is broad. We have the oil and gas sector that had been there a long time ago, before 1989. The electricity sector was also a very prominent subsector. So it needed, all these subsectors had policies, but we never had a single national energy policy from which scholars, investors, development partners can actually lay hand on and see which direction is government moving in the development of its energy resources. So stakeholders were brought in, and a draft was made of the national energy policy then, and that was in 1993. Started in 1993, and 10 years later, in 2003. The Federal Executive Council approved the National Energy Policy, which is an omnibus policy document, both involving oil and gas, electricity, renewables, nuclear energy, the financing, gender issues, all sorts of things that are connected, because energy is a multifaceted field. Environment, all these were involved, were all in the national national energy policy. So I think that was a milestone, output for the establishment of the energy commission. Now it went further to produce the master plan. Out of a policy, you make out a master plan, and to make out a master plan is that you must tell the nation where you want to go to, based on the policies, particularly associating it with numbers, targets, timelines. And so it liaises with International Atomic Energy Agency, which has one of the best energy planning division. It came to develop the skills using models to tell us how far we need to go. The typical output is, for instance, the work we did with the National with the International Atomic Energy Agency had shown us that by 2030 we needed nothing less than 100 gigawatts of electric generation capacity. If with our population growth, high population, the level of industrialization we want to go into, and etc. and etc. But however, we know where we are at the moment. There's a lot. I mean, there's a big gap. We also evolved demand on the petroleum products, which becomes a guide to number of refineries we need to have, and for exports. And even in our demand, we discovered that really we even needed to import electricity. Needed to import electricity in the long run in order to support the demand. And that is why we believe that the ECOWAS network would...
Go ahead.
That is, the ECOWAS network is really very, very important in moving electricity from one part of the region to another. And in fact, we could even import electricity even from Central Africa, where you have very huge renewable energy sources, that is the large dams there. One very important thing that I think Energy Commission has done is that we're happy at the moment that renewables has now become very, very prominent, not only because of climate change, not because of environmental things, but particularly we started this for the purpose of energy security, in diversifying the energy mix of the country, because it's in line with the law that we must make recommendations for energy, for new energy sources.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Jide Bala. We will return to you against the background of what you have said, so that we drill further into what has happened, say, in the last 5 years, what the Buhari administration inherited, and then what the achievements have been since 2015. But let's go back to to Lagos. We understand that we are unable to get in via Skype now. Kirian, that looks like a major challenge.
Yes.
If we, that's the Director General of the Nigeria Natural Medicine Development Agency. Okay, well, we understand it's back now. DG, Nigeria Natural Medicine Development Agency, that's Samuel Ogene Etatuvie. Those who want to make it impossible for you to be on Good Morning Nigeria today, they will fail. So we know that the gods are on your side and also on our side this morning. But tell us something. I mean, the Honorable Minister was indicating some new advances in terms of research in the health sector, and yours is from the natural medical perspective. Exactly what has been happening in that subsector?
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to first of all use this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister for a better appreciation of the potentials and the relevance of the traditional medicine knowledge and associated bioresources. Before now, since he came in, has given us a lot of support and encouragement. Actually, one of the challenges we had before 2015 was the poor funding and late release of funds that we could not access. Actually, by 2015, when he came in, we had a zero capital. But he felt that that was not good enough for an important sector like the natural medicine or traditional medicine sector. He has supported us and he has encouraged us. We, like you mentioned, we had a lot of, based on our mandate, we have a lot of activities because of those support in terms of R&D. And I also want to mention here that the agency was established in 1997 by a ministerial order. And we'll be trying to have the legal instrument that formally establish it. It was by the support of the Honorable Minister, we were able to move it through FEC, and eventually we'll have the act establishing the agency signed into law by Mr. President on the 24th of June 2019. So that is just last year, so which is a big achievement for the agency. And like I mentioned, because of the support and some increased funding for the agency, we've tried to improve on the R&D infrastructures that we require to do serious research and development. And we've been able to develop. We had a smaller lab, but we've been able to develop or construct a bigger lab. We call it a complex lab that will soon be finished, and we'll do better things. But in terms of R&D, we've been able to come up with some very important products that will help the nation and individuals that will need them. We've looked at malaria as a problem, and in line with the malaria eradication program of the country, we've been able to develop an indoor herbal spray that you can spray in the house, and you'll be able to stay there, and it will help eliminate the mosquito. We've done all the necessary laboratory tests and the field tests, and we are preparing it. Actually, we submitted it to NAFDAC for NAFDAC listing. We've also done developed a herbal product. It's a tea for the control of blood sugar for diabetes. That one is a tea, and we have gotten NAFDAC listing for that. We're ready for commercialization. We've also developed a product for management of malaria. It's also in the form of tea. The tea also has been listed by NAFDAC. The good thing about that tea is that it reduces the parasitemia. It also reduces the fever that is associated with the malaria, and it also increases the ability to normally the patients that suffer from malaria find it difficult to eat. So this particular product increases the appetite of the patient. It's also, we listed it, and we're also moving it through NOTAB for possible patent, and then from there to commercialization. Like when the minister mentioned, we have a candidate product for management of cancer, both breast cancer and prostate cancer. We've concluded all the quality assurance, the safety, and the stability of that particular product. Actually, we've been able to, some individuals that know that we have those products have come for us to give them the products after signing a concept note for us. We did it as a kind of a temporaneous preparation for them, and we've had very, very encouraging reports. Some of them that were on chemotherapy, and they dropped, their hair has been dropped, and they have the pains and other symptoms of cancer. They've been able to, the hair has been restored, their energy restored, every other parameter that we need to check has been checked. But we are still working on it, and by the time we finish, we'll be able to proudly present it to the country. We also have products for erectile dysfunction, and that increases libido. That one, a lot of men, and we know the challenges of erectile dysfunction and the loss of libido, and what the impact it has on the family. So that product is also almost getting ready. Apart from human related illness and all that, we've looked at also at the livestock challenges that we have, especially the poultry industry that a lot of people are involved in. And also from our research, we realized that many of the drugs that they use in managing business are also imported. So we decided to at least get a product in that line. We have a broiler growth promoter to increase the egg production. We also have an anti-hermetic science to deworm that's one of the greater challenges, and one anti-coccidiosis, one of the major diseases that affect the poultry industry. And from those who have helped us to apply them in their farms have also given us a very encouraging report. All these products will be exhibited at the National Science and Technology Expo, and the response at that expo was also very encouraging. Other achievements we've made during this 15 years, especially with regards to the COVID-19 response, you realize that one of the requirements, one of the products that is required to help assist people to prevent this COVID-19 is herbal sanitizer. And at a point, the herbal sanitizer became a bit scarce and very expensive. And most of the raw materials for developing the standard ones, carbona, isopropyl alcohol, and others, are imported. And they are also becoming very scarce. But meanwhile, we realize that a lot of medicinal and aromatic plants that have both bacteriostatic, bactericidal activities. So we decided to formulate 100% herbal hand sanitizer, which we also exhibited at the last expo. And we're happy that Mr. President passed through our stand and he saw them and actually congratulated us for taking that initiative. As of today, we've also concluded our herbal remedy for the management of the symptoms of this COVID-19. If you realize that most cases, the severity of this COVID-19 clinical variant is about 5, from asymptomatic to mild to moderate disease. I think that if you are able to take care of the symptoms like fever, cough, shortness of breath, pains, diarrhea, there are established medicinal plants in this country that have scientific, that they have both, apart from they have the capacity to reduce fever, to manage cough, to open up the airways, and also to take care of. They also have antiviral and antibacterial properties. So that by the time people in that category that are not have gone down to the level of severe and critical, that requires ventilators and other oxygen support, can use this product. We've not been making noise about it because we felt it is proper. We do all the right things, all the necessary analysis before we can come into the open to measure. But I just want to let our Nigerians know that these are some of the efforts that my agency, Nigerian Natural Medicine Development Agency, has done in the area of looking for solutions for the treatment, prevention of the COVID-19. We, as an agency, we also know that the traditional medicine knowledge is more located at the grassroots level. And with the support of our Honorable Minister, he graciously approved our establishment of 6 zonal centers for the agencies.
All right, we're going to come back to you to perhaps explain some of the issues concerning commercialization of all the itemized medications that you've been able to put together, the agency using herbs, which of course are made from plants that are available to Nigeria. We also like to know, in the course of this program, the type of herbal plants that we have in Nigeria, and of course the efficacious nature of these herbal plants, and how you've been able to plan for commercialization of what you have already done. We thank you, and we're back to our studio here in Abuja to get to Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, sir, Nigerians in the informal sector have also participated actively in the expo, and you could see that there are many individuals who are not in any organization, who are individuals that come up with something that are so intriguing. For instance, the man that produced the wooden car, with which you came into the arena 2 years ago, he's from Mina. He's just a high school lever, and he doesn't have any, he doesn't work in any organization, but he was able to do that. Such persons, what is the ministry doing to see how they can be incorporated and encouraged, to advance the technology that they have already? What are we doing in that connection?
Oh no, I really thank you for raising this this point. It's very, very important, and we are particularly interested in the contributions to knowledge in science and technology from the informal sector, and we have done a lot to encourage them. Quite often we link them up, depending on the type of work that they have done. We link them up to the appropriate agency, because we believe that such an agency will help them to fine-tune the work they've already started, to make it possible for them to advance such work, to the level where they can be commercialized. Because we believe very strongly that if those in the informal sector can commercialize their research findings, start making money from those, the way Bill Gates, this is a man who was in the university, he got an idea, he came out of university, and today, or for a very long time, he was the richest person. So we think that those in the informal sector, if we can encourage them, assist them, we give grants to them. We have a program that we have been religiously, since I became minister, we've been making money available. No matter how much we have, we give to them. With this, if they can get products that they can make money from, then it will encourage more people to start using the ideas, converting them into products which will help our economy and so on. But before I conclude on this, I would like to mention something about the Energy Commission of Nigeria. The DG, is important that he lets you know that NNPC determining the crude oil deposits in the Bauchi-Gombe axis, the belt, belt was as a result of the work that one of the research centers, they have 6 research centers attached to universities within the country, the work that they did. So, which is a very important thing. And it's important for the nation to know, that because it was a major find, that oil that was located between Gombe and is the research that was done in Tafawa Balewa University in our own, which is very important, yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We will take a short break now. When we return, we'll bring in the DG of Energy Commission of Nigeria to speak more on the activities of that agency. Let's go on a short break. All right, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Let's bring in now the Director General of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, that's Engineer Jidere Bala. Engineer Jidere, I mean, against the background of your history as an agency and then your mandate, tell us, what are those practical things that Nigerians can relate to beyond laying the policy framework and roadmap, for the energy mix of the country? What are those, as I said, touchables and seeables?
Thank you, Kingsley. As the Honorable Minister did mention, Energy Commission, in pursuit of its mandate, had established 6 energy research centers that are university-based, 1 in each of the 6 geopolitical zones. And the one in the northeast, that is the National Center for Petroleum Research and Development, located at the Tafawa Balewa University, has a mandate for the research and development on hydrocarbons and any other energy resource from underground, like geothermal energy. And since inception, when it was established, you may recall that some IOCs had begun some work in the northern Benue Trop, and they ended it up. But with the little that was obtained, the center did some analysis, and with some research work in collaboration with some work done in some Malaysian universities came up with a model that indicated that there are potentials within the northern Benue Trough to actually get commercial source of crude oil. And subsequently, in liaison with the NMPC Frontier Exploration Agency, they were able to go deeper, and then that is the find that they have gotten. So the collaboration between the center and the NMPC actually contributed to what we now have as the Kolmani 2 oil finds. The other centers, we have the Sokoto Energy Research Center and the National Center for Energy Research and Development based at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. They are the two oldest research centers that we have. And these are basically on solar and other renewable energy. And a lot of the outputs have been found. We are very happy to say that the level of development within the renewable energy sector now in the country is because of the work done at Nsukka and Sokoto Energy Research Centers of the Energy Commission of Nigeria.
Is the Commission strictly a research agency, or it does more beyond research? I'm asking this because when you're talking about the energy mix, of which renewable energy is very critical, I mean, a long while ago, it was established that the northwestern part of the country, say Katsina, is very valuable for wind energy. And I think the Yar'Adua administration started something in Katsina. Ibadan is also supposed to be very good for that. But we are not seeing this available. I mean, everywhere is still generator. So that's why I'm asking this in terms of the next steps so that it becomes valuable for the user.
Well, I think the commission is both.
Okay.
I mean, you have to advise government, make recommendations based on research findings. Even policy direction can be informed through research and development. I mean, research must not only be seen as, a young man or a person in a white jacket in a lab, mixing chemicals or turning a lathe, or doing the work on friction or something of that nature. You hear journalists do a lot of research before you come out with a program. So research is a very encompassing type of a thing, and an institution like ours does research and also does planning. Of course, you can't plan without research. You can't have information to plan without research. So it's an institution that is knowledge based. Just like the minister, I think, since he came, he has been preaching about knowledge-based economy. And just like he said, the entire national economy is science and technology. Is it transportation? Is it the energy sector? Is it the agricultural sector? Is it the health sector? Science and tech is everywhere. Now, let me just make mention of the physical things that the Energy Commission has done. In these research centers, we've been able to have research particularly in solar energy, the devices, promoting renewables. Solar PV technology, the first to be promoted. I think the first solar water heater was established in 1988 in NIPS by the Sokoto Energy Research Center, providing clean water for drinking and sanitation to staff in the NIPS, National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies in Jos. In rural communities, I think right from 2015 to now, I think we've installed over 300 solar-driven water boreholes in rural communities. And you know what it is if you are from a rural community where you drink water from the stream, to have clean water to drink and clean water for sanitation. It affects health, it affects human development. We've also done a lot of solar street lights in rural communities, and it improved security, especially at this time where insecurity is a major thing. It also enhanced social interaction amongst the rural communities at night. I mean, you install this and you just find out how people jubilate. Their social life changes. The economic life also improves. We've installed quite a number of mini-grids in the rural health centers. It has improved the health delivery in the rural centers. Just to mention a few, I know between 2015 and now we've installed over 10,000 solar street lights. We've installed over 300 solar water boreholes. Now we have other research outputs, solar water heaters that are installed in hospitals and rural clinics. I'm sure we have one now at the Sokoto University Teaching Hospital, installed by the Sokoto Energy Research Center, and one in the teaching hospital too in Enugu, installed by Nsuka. We have solar dryers, crop dryers. We have solar PV-driven irrigation systems that have been developed, biogas digesters, improved fuel wood stoves that are now being distributed in order to minimize the deforestation and mitigate climate change. So we've done a lot of these outputs, research outputs.
Yeah, so interestingly, I was going to interject to ask you to go to the specifics, which you have just done, for Nigerians to appreciate and understand that you have been doing some things physical, things that are supporting lives, solving problems, and what have you. At this point, let's go back to Lagos, where we have a tattoo here.
Kirian, I just wonder, I'm sorry to interject. No. Just before we go back to Lagos, I wanted the Honorable Minister to clear something on the basis of what our guest in Lagos had earlier said, because he was talking about their research findings. We've also had the benefit here of NIPRID, which is the Pharmaceutical Research Development Agency. Now, we understand that that agency has moved from Science and Tech to Ministry of Health. So, again, on the basis of that Science, Tech and Innovation Council, what is the harmony amongst all of these research agencies? Yeah. What is the collaboration, for instance, between what the Natural Medicine Agency is doing, as our guest in Lagos has said, and what NIPRID on its own is doing? What is the collaboration between these ones and the agricultural research institutes? And what are people just still operating in silos?
No. We're not operating in silos. Indeed, it's important I make this point, to the nation. The Federal Ministry of Science and Technology came into existence by an act of parliament in 1980. And it was very clear we have the mandate to do research and innovation in the country. That's our mandate. And at that time, all the research institutes and agencies that you now have, they were under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. But it so happened that over time, there was a time that the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology was merged with the Ministry of Education. There was also a time it was merged with Ministry of Industry. And there was a time it was scrapped completely. I'm sure you remember all these things. And then finally it was reconstituted. And it was reconstituted during a military government. And the man who was the Minister of Science was a civilian. So there was no way he could get the agencies that were under major generals or brigadiers and all that. So that's why you have these agencies in so many ministries now. But before, all these agencies were, in one ministry. And, for efficiency, if you don't want to duplicate research efforts and so on, you need to, bring these things together. That is the essence. If you have any nation that has a Ministry of Science and Technology, naturally, we put all the research institutes and agencies in one place. So that, because when I became minister, the first thing I did was to make sure that there was no duplication within the 17 agencies, because 17 is still a big number. So I made sure, because when you have limited resources, you must make sure that you apply every kobo in the wisest possible manner. And so that is that. But within the council, you see, the council has Mr. President as chairman and also has 16 ministers. 16 ministers is minus the Federal Executive Council. There is no other council that has, that type of number. We also has Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. It has ASIMA and all that and so on. So the council brings everybody together. So you shouldn't worry. whether you are in health or you are in agriculture or in environment or in science and technology, you are there. And also the council is not just for federal, we're interested in the research and innovation in Nigeria. That is why it's important that, for example, when we do all our programs, we involve subnational government, we involve the state, we bring them together because, you see, the development of the nation cannot just be left for the federal government. No, it can't. It won't work. You must go to all levels. So that council, is responsible for research in Nigeria. And if once we have a research fund, that fund will promote research, in all, not only both the universities, polytechnics, and when you come to universities, whether it's federal, whether it's state, whether it's private, whether it's public, whether it's faith-based, all those don't matter, provided they do research. Now, you go beyond that, even in the industry, because industry must have, research centers. It's very important. Every major industry. And you see, this is the problem. And that's why we are promoting, in Nigeria. We want Nigerian investors to come in. Because all these foreign companies, they come here to Nigeria. They make a lot of money. But they do the research in their home countries. And that is not good for us. They should be doing the research here because there are certain things that are very unique to us, peculiar to us. So this is the issue. So we need industries to do research, and we will promote them, because it's important. Every research in Nigeria will help grow our economy.
All right, sir. I think the part of the issue here, is that in this country, the investors are not keen into science and technology as they should be. Those that are showing interest are not adequate enough to address the challenges we have in the sector, and even to ensure that all the research works that are coming out from the different research agencies, are put into use to solve a societal problem. That's, I think, one of the basic issues that we have. Until the investors begin to, come in here, I think we will not go.
And Kirian, sorry, I don't know. Let me just very shortly. You see, NOTAP is one of our agencies, and one of their mandates is to promote protection of intellectual property through patents. And everybody knows in the world that patents, the best measure of innovation anywhere in the world. Oh, yes. And in 2015, when I became minister, there were only 6 patents that passed through NOTAP. But do you know that number has grown from 6 to 16 to 50 to 57, 58? So this shows that the research and innovation is making tremendous progress in the country. People may not see it, but it's there. So it is important that this link-up is done. Because we're not interested in silos. We have broken those silos. Yes. We want the industry, we want the research institute, we want government, to work together.
So there's more synergy now?
Oh, yeah, there is. There is.
All right. And again, we've had the NOTAP DG some time ago, about last month. He also expatiated on what you have just mentioned. Okay, let's go back to Lagos and get this question to whoever Talvu here. Sir, you enumerated some of the items that you have in your kitty at the agency and how efficacious that they have been, and of course how acceptable it has been when NAFDAC has given you a go-ahead. But let's think beyond that. What are we getting with respect to commercialization? I know it's not your responsibility to do that, but what steps have you taken to ensure that the necessary agencies are in the know of what you have and could key into commercializing the tea that you have mentioned, which of course the reason for what you are doing is to ensure that Nigerians benefit from that. So what is the next step after you have done the ones that you have explained to us earlier on?
Yeah, well, the next steps, like especially for those of them that the 2 products that have been NAFDAC listing. So, like when we were at the expo, we were a lot of people that came. Some of the industrialists showed interest in coming to discuss with us. But because I'm sure because of the challenges of this COVID-19 and restrictions on movements and all that, we've not been able to push it forward. But we are confident that before this year runs out, one or two interested partners will come and will finalize the discussions on their commercialization. So that is for those products. The other ones I mentioned, they are still undergoing standardization processes. And once we are through, we also push it through NAFDAC listing. Like I want to emphasize one part. Our policy as a research institute is to you develop your product, you move it to patenting or move it to NAFDAC listing before you do anything about publishing the paper. Because once it goes into public domain, you may not be able to have the patent that you desire, which actually most investors are interested in, and they cannot pay you royalties and all that. That has also been the emphasis that our Honorable Minister has always given to us. So those are the issues as regards to commercialization. Then on the issue of
I was just wondering, Mr. Ogane Tatuvia, please, very quickly, in line with the question that Kirian asked about commercialization, you talked, for instance, about the type of teas that you have, teas for diabetes and teas for others. When you go to the shops, you find all kinds of labels on all kinds of teas, making claims to some of these things that you have just indicated. So how do we ascertain that which is yours out of the laboratory and indeed already certified by NAFDAC, and then the others who are probably just puffs?
Well, I'm not a regulatory agency, we're a research and development agency. My concern is to bring to the public what I can defend. Issues of safety, issues of effectiveness, issues of quality are very germane if you want to do product development. And I want to also emphasize this fact that drug development takes time and also takes money. It takes time and it takes money. There are processes you must go through, and as a scientist, you must go through before you jump into the public and begin to announce what you've done. Because you are supposed, papers, you can develop them, send them for peer review journal discussions and all that. So that is why some of these products will be a bit quiet about them. We want to be sure that anywhere anybody takes it, we'll be able to call back. Many people, even those of us, me in particular, that they want for control blood sugar. That's what I use in managing myself. The one for malaria, most of my staff and the other friends, they take them and they give us very good information. I mean, very good response. So we are confident of what we are putting out, and we sure want to use this opportunity to call on any interested promoter.
All right, Owen, Kingsley is interested in some of those products, so if you can get it across.
I'm not diabetic, by the way, Kieran.
From what you have said, you make it available to us, it will be very important.
I'm sure our viewers out there are also interested.
Exactly, yes.
But I know that you are a native doctor from Enugu, Kieran.
Honorable Minister, you started the expo since 2016. But I want to assure you that NTA has been in the business of doing such expo for the past 25 years or more. And we concentrate on children, high school, primary school. It's been there for years. And we always expect that your ministry will support and collaborate with us in this direction. And, it's a yearly thing. So this year's own is yet to come. And we're expecting to collaborate with the ministry for you to come and see the wonders the younger generation of Nigerians are doing. In fact, you will be shocked what you're going to see if you attend any of the NTA's, technology expo for children. So give us assurance that this year's own, that we're going to do that together collaboratively.
No, I really thank you for raising this, and I want to commend the NTA for the foresight to encourage our young people. It's exactly what we believe must be done, because, you catch them young so that when they grow older, they will behave that way. You see, I have never had any doubt whatsoever. That's why the greatness of the nation, for me, is a certainty. It's just a matter of time, so long as we do what is right. Because you need to see what our people, you visit schools, you see what, our people can produce. So I feel very happy. I'm so proud. And most people know that Nigerians are very intelligent. So all we're trying to do now is just to redirect our thinking so that let us see that, look, if you employ science, technology, and innovation, we can attain this greatness that Nigeria wants faster. So we want to give you assurance that if you invite us in good enough time, we will attend.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's heartwarming. We are unable to take the tweets now because we're getting pressed for time. I was just Engineer Bala of Energy Commission of Nigeria. I'm sure this is a question that you probably will be bombarded with from time to time. Look, we have abundance of sunshine in the country. In the coastal areas, we have abundance of wind. And yet, these are sources we are unable to harness, despite the findings that your institute or your agency has come up with. What is the missing link? How can we kick into this? Very briefly.
Well, to convert these resources, to convert these energy resources into final energies, in most cases, what's wind and the solar primarily is to electricity as the final energy. You need investments. You need investments. And I think technologies are already there. Solar PV technology is proven, is becoming cheaper year in, year out, more so driven now by climate change. A lot of funds are available, research is going on. The same thing with wind. In fact, wind is even cheaper now, especially offshore.
So who should have this investment, private or public?
Private, because the energy sector is more or less, for instance, the electricity sector is liberalized.
Right. No, sorry, let me come in here. But then, there is the need, sorry, DG, there is the need for us to have solar cells produced here in Nigeria.
Yes.
Because if we produce solar cells in Nigeria, we are going to reduce the cost of these solar panels.
There's supposed to be one at Karachi here near Abuja.
No, that is the solar panel. But the major component, 60% of is the cell. Yeah, and then that cell, you get it from ordinary sand. From the sand, you produce silicon. We have it everywhere. Then you produce silicon. Now, from the silicon, you get the solar cell. And then from the silicon, there are so many other things you are going to produce for.
That will be a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge. That's what we need. We need it as a nation. Because look at this Silicon Valley in America. That's how the Silicon Valley.
Okay, Honorable Minister, we'd like to thank you. We have actually come to the end. We've exhausted our time. We appreciate the fact that you were able to be here with us this morning on Good Morning Nigeria. Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Brno, it's been a pleasure talking to you this morning on Good Morning Show. Dr. Mohammed Lawal Buga, Engineer Eli Jidere Bala, we also like to thank you for coming. That's the DG of the Energy Commission. It's a pleasure having you here this morning. Professor, rather. Yeah, well, I called you a professor earlier on, and my colleague said it's engineer.
No, it's both.
Both. Engineer, professor.
Yeah.
All right. Then via Skype, we had the Samuel Ogene Tatuvia. We thank you for being part of our show this morning. Thank you indeed for coming.
All right. So that does it for us today on Good Morning Nigeria. We appreciate you being with us. We are back tomorrow, same time as always, 7 o'clock in the morning. Until then, stay safe and be well. I'm Kingsley.